In the first 5 episodes of this series, I've provided brief illustrations of different learning disorders. However, some lookalike symptoms of these disorders could arise from different sources. Thus, a psychologist briefly investigates some crucial background issues before arriving at a realistic hunch that a child might be genuinely suffering from a learning disorder. This episode illustrates how a psychologist might go about such a preliminary investigation.
When can a person be said to have a learning disorder?
According to the DSM-5, relevant professionals can say that a person has a learning disorder after making a clinical synthesis of the individual's history, school reports, and psychoeducational assessment. Assessment procedures need to investigate all these aspects.
What are aspects of a child's history that are investigated?
The DSM-5 mandates that psychologists inquire about the medical, developmental, psychosocial, educational, and emotional history of the child in order to get an insight into the source of his or her difficulty. Let us look at an example of how these aspects of a child history can be investigated.
Seema, a 7-year-old girl studying in grade 2, was referred for assessment because she was often restless and inattentive in class. She could understand the teacher's instructions and gave correct oral answers to questions she was asked. However, she often resisted reading and writing, and her notebooks were often incomplete. Her mother confirmed the teacher's observations.
The psychologist briefly inquired with the mother about Seema's prenatal and early medical history.
The mother said that she did not smoke or drink alcohol or have any serious medical ailment when she bore Seema in her womb. The mother also had a normal delivery. Seema did not have any complications during or after birth. In addition, Seema had a normal eyesight and hearing ability, and she did not have any major physical ailment during her early years of life. However, the mother observed that Seema began crawling, walking, and talking later than other baby girls her age. In addition, she was always cranky, restless, and irritable since the age of 2.
The psychologist later inquired about Seema's home circumstances.
Both Seema's parents had postgraduate degrees. Seema's father held a senior executive position in a multinational corporate firm and earned a very good salary. Seema's mother was a freelance journalist. She worked largely from home, so she was constantly available to Seema. Seema had her own bedroom and had an adequate supply of toys and educational material. Both Seema's parents enjoyed a good relationship with each other and spent much of their free time with Seema as well. There were no problems with neighbors or their children. Thus, financial and social disadvantage did not seem to play a role in causing Seema's difficulty.
Later, the psychologist asked questions related to Seema's educational history.
The mother read stories to Seema when she was still a toddler. Thus, Seema was exposed to proper vocabulary and sentence structure early in life. And the mother followed up Seema's study daily at home. Seema attended the same English medium school since the time she was in kindergarten. The family spoke English at home. So, there was no discrepancy between Seema's mother tongue and the medium of instruction in school. In addition, Seema's teachers were reputed to be well qualified, experienced, and dedicated. Thus, Seema's difficulty did not seem to be due to any form of educational disadvantage. The mother shared that since kindergarten onward, Seema's teachers observed that she slouched in her chair and tended to be distracted and fidgety. She struggled to hold a pencil and to write, and often misplaced her books and stationery. A quick perusal of Seema's notebooks indicated that she made a number of spelling mistakes and that she often reversed letters like B and D.
The psychologist also asked about Seema's general mood and behavior.
The mother shared that Seema found it difficult to sit in one place or attend to one task, be it playing, doing homework assigned in school, or organizing her toys, clothes, and belongings. When asked to stay with a task, she was often angry and irritated. She also found it difficult to engage in play activities with her peers and often withdrew from others.
The psychologist synthesized the information she had gathered through the interview. She observed that Seema's medical history raised no cause for concern. However, her delay in beginning to crawl, walk, or talk might need to be further discussed. She observed that Seema hailed from a well-knit family that provided for her physical and emotional needs. Her schooling was not interrupted in any way, and her teachers were well qualified. Thus, medical and environmental issues, as well as educational disadvantage, did not seem to have contributed to Seema's academic difficulty. The psychologist eventually noted that Seema did not have difficulty understanding instructions and speaking. However, she did not fare well with reading and writing despite special attention, and she displayed symptoms of inattention as well. The psychologist concluded that Seema might be having a genuine educational difficulty. She thought it appropriate to initially refer Seema for testing her sensory integration abilities, her level of attention, and later for psychoeducational testing. Let me briefly sum up the key takeaways of this episode. A psychologist ensures that a child's medical problems, family or social circumstances, or disadvantaged educational background are not directly linked to the learning difficulty that the child has been displaying. The psychologist may then refer the child for other assessment procedures as she might think appropriate. We will look at some of these commonly used assessment procedures in our next episode.